So there is something that Rafa Nadal does way better than any other player in the world. What is it? I'm pretty sure you guessed it already, and it's hit heavy topspin balls. Now, some players think that heavy topspin balls are only for defensive situations, but if you saw any of the Nadal Roland Garros matches, you're gonna see that he uses them on defensive situations, he uses them on neutral situations, but he also uses them to hit winners out of that shot that most people think is defensive. So, if I was you, I could definitely try to master this shot, and on today's video we're gonna give you a few tips that they're gonna help you to improve this kind of shot. So first of all, why is so important this shot? First of all, the consistency that it gives you. This kind of heavy topspin ball, it's a ball that goes way over the net, so we have a huge net clearance, and the spin makes the ball drop inside of the court, so we don't really have, as far as we have a good technique, we won't have any problem hitting the ball deep even if the ball is high, because the spin is already making the ball drop. So, even if we are too far from the baseline, we're gonna hit this heavy ball, the ball is gonna go deep, when it bounces it's gonna kick so high that it's gonna be so hard for the other one to hit an offensive shot out of it, and you will see that so many times out of this ball they're gonna give you a short ball that you will be able to put away. So, another very important part of hitting this spin is hitting this kind of shot to the other one's backhand. Now tell me, who likes hitting a high backhand up here? No matter if you have a one-handed backhand and two-handed backhand. Especially on the one-handed backhand, it's way harder than on the two-handed, but even two-handed, nobody's gonna like hitting the ball up here. So that's a shot that, again, you should definitely try to use way more often on your game. That's the number one shot that Rafa Nadal uses. Of course, he's lefty. He's gonna be able to go way easier to the other one's backhand with his cross-court forehand, but still, you can definitely go down the line with a heavy topspin ball. And even if he goes to the other one's forehand, maybe it's not as bad as the backhand, but still, he won't be able to hit a winner of that. Now, I'm gonna give you a few tips of how to master this shot, okay? So, first of all, to hit this kind of topspin ball, again, so important, have the head of the racket close before the point of contact. If you do a backswing and the face of the racket is completely open, it's gonna be so hard, even if you try to brush up so much, yeah, you might get a lot of topspin, but the pace of the ball is gonna be so low, the other one is gonna be able to move in, take it early, and crush it. So what do we wanna do? Like we explained on another of the videos, make sure you close the face of the racket when you do the backswing. So a few key points that you can see when you do the backswing part is, first of all, when you do the first part, the unit turn here on the backswing, and you keep pushing with the left arm the racket, make sure the face of the racket, the part of the racket that you are gonna hit the ball with, faces at least the side fence, okay? Once you keep pushing it back, there are some players that they put the racket in the back fence, okay? So they are gonna hit with this part, the racket is gonna fully face the back fence, okay? For example, you have Novak Djokovic that you can see that on the unit turn he hits into this position, but then you can also see players like Roger Federer, he still hits a lot of topspin, that he opens here, but then from here he drops directly. He never gets to this position. But there is this position where the racket is facing the side fence, where everybody gets there, okay? So that's the first key point that you need to focus on. Now the second one, after you get to this position, is dropping the head of the racket and pointing the face of the racket to the ground. So I'm gonna hit with this part of the racket with the ball. I'm gonna make sure that this part faces the ground or almost fully. It can be slightly open, but again, the more you close it, the more it's gonna help you get that extra spin. Now, the next part that you wanna focus on is, after you do this part, is so many people talk about the racket lag, the wrist lag, whatever, on the forehand. That's a motion that if you have a good technique, as soon as the arm starts going forward, the racket is gonna drop itself, because at the end of the day, you are moving your arm and the body forward here, starting from the legs, then the hip, and then it goes to the shoulder and the racket, and as soon as this part goes forward, the racket is gonna drop itself, and it's gonna go back right away. I don't need to force my wrist to go back, so my racket is here, and as soon as I start the motion forward, I do this motion, the racket is gonna go backwards by itself. I don't need to force it. Okay, so make sure you don't force it, you stay loose, stay relaxed, and as soon as you stay loose, you will see that that racket lag is gonna be natural, and you are gonna be able to do it. Next thing I'm gonna tell you is, don't open the face of the racket too early, or don't try to adjust with the wrist. There are so many players that they get to this position where they close the face of the racket, but then once they are here, they feel like they're gonna end up hitting the ball with the frame of the racket. So what they end up doing is right before the point of contact, they do this motion with the wrist, they end up opening the face of the racket, and the ball ends up going so high but completely flat and out. So make sure that when you go forward, you start opening the face of the racket progressively right before you hit the ball, and that's when the ball is gonna get a lot of spin. Now again, try to not get the racket completely perpendicular with the ground, because the ball is going to tend to go flat. You're going to need to brush up, but again, you don't really want to brush up. So make sure you close the face of the racket. The face of the racket is slightly close to the point of contact, and then from here go up. Now, before the point of contact, you want to make sure that you drop the head of the racket under the ball. So, once you get here to this position, try to drop the head of your racket a little bit under the wrist. So you can see that on the backswing, the head of the racket is over your wrist. But now, once you get to the point before the point of contact, you're going to see the head of the racket that drops below your wrist. So you need to make sure that you drop the racket here under your wrist. So from here, you're going to be able to accelerate up and get way more spin on your ball. Because if the racket is at the same height at your wrist, it's going to be way harder to get a spin and to hit a higher ball. Because in order to hit a high ball, we're going to need to make sure that the racket goes low and then it goes up. So make sure you drop the head of the racket below your wrist, and once you get here, then you can accelerate up. Now, on the follow through, make sure you pronate your arm. The more you pronate your arm on the follow through, the more spin you're going to be able to get. So after you hit, the arm is going to start pronated progressively as you do the follow through, and that's going to help you to keep the face of the racket closed on the whole follow through and keep getting that extra spin that your ball needs to go in. Now, make sure that a mistake that so many players do is right after they hit the ball, they go down with the racket, and what happens? The ball tends to go down right away to the net. So if you feel like some of your balls are going to the net, focus on doing that motion progressively, and even if your racket is turning here, make sure you keep the arm going up. So again, the arm is going up and the face of the racket is closing, so the ball is going to keep going up, but the ball is going to drop because of this arm motion. But don't go down and pronate your arm, because that's when the ball is going to drop too early, and the other one is going to be able to take it early and crash it, so that's not really a good ball. Another very important part when you are trying to get topspin is getting low using your legs. If you get high, first of all, the ball is going to be higher comparing with your legs and your racket, so it's going to get harder to get under the ball. As soon as you get lower, if the ball is here, if you are up, it's going to be hard to go under, but as soon as you get lower, it's way easier for you to go up and accelerate on a upwards movement. So make sure you get low and you use your legs and your core. So from here, when you do a backswing, when you get here, your legs needs to be slightly bent, okay? And make sure you turn your shoulders here. You don't want to, let's say the other one is looking from over there, they don't want to see your chest. So if you are showing your chest, that means that your body is not turning off. So make sure you turn, you stay here, show them a little bit of shoulder and back, so it's where your body is turning off, and from here you can uncoil the body and use your legs. Now, there is some mistake that I see on so many players that it seems like in order to get topspin, they need to hit the ball in close stand, which is not right. If you see Nadal, you will see that most of his forehands are in open stance and he has a crazy amount of topspin. So you can hit in open stance, but make sure you bend the legs, the body is turned, okay? When you are in close stand, it's a little bit easier to turn your body because we're already sideways. So if you are in open stance, make sure you force yourself to turn your body, turn your core, and from here, once you start the motion forward with the legs, start uncoiling the body, and from here, accelerate the ball through the point of contact to get a lot of topspin. If you liked our video, make sure you like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Also, we have very exciting news for you. We want to help all the support that you put on our YouTube channel, so we are creating a free course for you. So get tuned, because on the next weeks we're going to be posting a free course that is going to help you immensely in one of the shots that you are really struggling and you want to improve.